Some folks call me a timber tramp, that might be so. I've been to nearly every logging camp and I'm running short of dough. I came up onto this outfit, it's really on the go. Thought that I might hire on, but it's a family show. Drinking, blocking, tackle at the Snag Fallers Ball. Drinking lots of soda pop and that ain't all. Sitting round the table and the lies are getting tall. No one will ever miss the Snag Fallers Ball. Well, your mama is the hook tender, your daddy's second boat. Sisters are pulling the rigging and your brother's changing roads. Uncle Henry runs the yarder, making lots of dough. Grandpa is the bullbuck, it's a family show. Drinking, blocking, tackle at the Snag Fallers Ball. Drinking lots of soda pop and that ain't all. Sitting round the table and the lies are getting tall. No one will ever miss the Snag Fallers Ball. Uncle Charlie does the falling, he's a-cutting down the trees. Bucking up behind him is his pretty wife Louise. Cousin Tommy is the chaser, sister drives a truck. Looking for a rigging job but ain't having any luck. Drinking, blocking, tackle at the Snag Fallers Ball. Drinking lots of soda pop and that ain't all. Sitting round the table and the lies are getting tall. No one will ever miss the Snag Fallers Ball. Well, there's only one ain't married in this whole dad blame outfit. She's 6'2" and 205 and she's proud of it. Her teeth are all brown from a chewing snooze. She got cork cracks on her nose. Think I'm gonna marry her and join the family show. Drinking, blocking, tackle at the Snag Fallers Ball. Drinking lots of soda pop and that ain't all. Sitting round the table and the lies are getting tall. Now I'm getting married at the Snag Fallers Ball. Now I'm getting married at the Snag Fallers Ball. Have you ever been around an old timber tramp for any period of time? It don't take long to figure him out and to know he's one of a kind. You can tell him he can work when the weather's real bad, in the pouring rain or snow. But the worst thing you can tell him in the morning is, I think it's gonna blow. We're not a-cutting any trees if the wind's still blowing and the rain is a-pouring down. We're gonna be right here sitting in the crummy, wait for it to settle down. Now he ain't afraid to speak his mind or to give you some advice. He's a little bit of a know-it-all sort, so you shouldn't have to ask him twice. He'll tell you that he thinks he knows everything and anything there is to know. He can tell you when the sun's gonna shine or if the wind's gonna blow. We're not a-cutting any trees if the wind's still blowing and the rain is a-pouring down. We're gonna be right here sitting in the crummy, wait for it to settle down. I've heard him cry when he's hot and dry, when there's not a drop to be found. Sing the blues to you when the summer's through, when the rain is a-pouring down. But he'll go ahead and work, he'll put in his day, as long as he doesn't know or have any sound reason reason to believe that he thinks it's gonna blow. We're not a-cutting any trees if the wind's still blowing and the rain is a-pouring down. We're gonna be right here sitting in the crummy, wait for it to settle down. Now I've seen him come and I've seen him go. They appear to be all the same. Some of the best are better than the rest. Some are wild and some are tame. But they're all around this great Northwest, anywhere the evergreens grow. He's a weatherman extraordinaire, the best the world's ever known. We're not a-cutting any trees if the wind's still blowing and the rain is a-pouring down. We're gonna be right here sitting in the crummy, wait for it to settle down. We're not a-cutting any trees if the wind's still blowing and it's raining, I should have known. We're gonna be right here sitting in the crummy, thinking about going home, thinking about going home. I knew before I reached 18, like my father before me, I'd spend my life working in the woods. I knew that's all there ever would be. I finished school and went up north in a big southeastern way. And if I were a young man still, that's where I'd be today. It's a great life if you don't weaken. I can hear it calling me still, but I doubt very much if I ever go back. In fact, I know I never will. Now anyone that's been around, I spent a little time up there, living in a logging camp, no phone and without care. You need some way to get around, just any old time you please. 'Cause being stuck in that logging camp was like being stuck overseas. It's a great life if you don't weaken. I can hear it calling me still, but I doubt very much if I ever go back. In fact, I know I never will. The fishing is great if you like to fish. The countryside's pretty too. And if you spend a season up there, it seems to keep calling you. Now I've got friends that live up there. They've made Southeast their home. And if I decide to ever leave here, I guess that's where I'd roam. It's a great life if you don't weaken. I can hear it calling me still, but I doubt very much if I ever go back. In fact, I know I never will. It's a great life if you don't weaken. I can hear it calling me still, but I doubt very much if I ever go back. In fact, I know I never will. In fact, I know I never will.
Well, it'd been a long time since the Snag Fallers Ball, and since then I hadn't done nothing at all. And just when I thought things were really bad, I went to work for Gilkison Dad. Well, now he calls me up on the telephone. He called me a couple times, but I wasn't home. It'd been so long since I worked by then, I didn't know if I could work again. He said, I'd like for you to cut some trees. I don't pay too bad, but I'm hard to please. And there's one more thing for you to understand. Get her done next week if you possibly can. So I took out a loan and I bought me a saw. I worked 2 days and asked for a draw. He says, that ain't the way we run this crew. Payday's the 10th, even for you. So I was a-cutting him down and bucking him up when I brushed one by his new pickup truck. He started yelling out the window, shaking his head. Probably just as well I couldn't hear what he said. Well, I blamed it on the wind, give him some song and dance, and talked him into giving me another chance. But then I hit the main line, shook things around, come real close to pulling the tower down. Old Carl's up in the yarder and he looks out at me, and I just grinned and faced another tree. But he's a nervous type and you could tell it when. Took a while to get him up in a cab again. Now up by the road the trees were really thick, and it looked like I'd be getting done pretty quick. Every so often there's a truck that'd go by. Didn't seem to bother him, but I don't know why. There was Folio's Kenworth and a short log or two that's sitting there waiting for old Doyle to get through. And just when Dick finished his second load, I crashed a Beck along the side of the road. Now they were standing there a-jawing like truck drivers do, telling big stories and swearing that's true. But when the limbs quit falling and the dust settled down, I didn't see anyone standing around. Now from that day on, things didn't go well. How long I'd be working there I couldn't tell. But when I finished my strip, packed out my tools, they sent me off to some cutting school. He said you're supposed to get smart, learn real fast, get the next unit done sooner than the last, and be sure to pick your shots and to hit all your lays, or you'll be down the road in a couple of days. You're gonna have to get some more cutters, he said. I can't have this equipment sitting here dead. I need more trees cut to make her go. So I heads out to find old Bunch and Snow. Now down at the Seagull they was hanging around, seeing how much oil they could guzzle down. And I walked in the door and said, I need 2 fools, so grease up your boots and throw in your tools. I got a real good place for you both to start, as long as you're strong, still not too smart. And I knew they were good. Right off the bat, they wore a 48 shirt and a size 2 hat. You got slashers and crashers and thrashers and such, but he wasn't prepared. These guys are too much. He said I shouldn't have started them in the old growth patch. This wood wasn't meant to go to Diamond Match. Now for the rest of the crew, I never seen the like. You got Brett the Jet, hooked into Mike, and Terry Lou setting chokers, and Dick's loading logs. I tell you, this logging has gone to the dogs. Yes, it kind of reminds me of the Snag Fallers Ball. If you're not related, then you don't work at all. But all things considered, guess it ain't too bad, this here working for Gilkison Dad.
There's one thing that a logger can do like no other man. He'll put up with most anything till it's more than he can stand. He'll quit, I've seen him quit with style. He'll quit while wearing a smile. It don't matter to him, I've seen it time and again. He'll quit, he's done it before. He'll quit, ain't working no more. It's just something that he had to do. Now I've quit once once or twice myself when I thought things weren't quite right. Most everyone has done it too. You never know when they might. They'll quit. When they say they're through, they'll quit. Done working for you, it don't matter to them. I've seen it time and again. They'll quit. They've done it before, they'll quit. Ain't working no more, it's just something that they had to do. Now you want a good man that will stick around, no matter what you do or don't. Pay a good wage and a bonus too. He says he'll stay, then he won't. He'll quit. Don't be too surprised, he'll quit. Look you right in the eyes, it don't matter to him. I've seen it time and again. He'll quit. He's done it before, he'll quit. Ain't working no more, it's just something that he had to do. Well, there's some guys that will stay a while. They like job security. You don't worry about them taking off. Here to stay, it's plain to see. But they'll quit. When they say they're done, they'll quit. Head out on the run, it don't matter to them. I've seen it time and again. They'll quit. They've done it before, they'll quit. Ain't working no more, it's just something that they had to do. Now I heard about this rigging crew who said they were all fed up. They choked a stump and blew go ahead, walked out and caught a truck. They quit, and they quit with style, they quit while wearing a smile. It didn't matter to them, and they'd probably do it again. They quit. They've done it before, they quit. Ain't working no more, it's just something that they had to do. They quit. They've done it before, they quit. Ain't working no more, it's just something that they had to do. Lots of men fall timber for a living. We all began as greenhorns at one time, so most of us are naturally forgiven when our buckers are hung up most of the time. You'll hear that old familiar sound of a chain that won't turn round. I guess my partner's hung up again. We all went down that road when we began. As I recall, then cutting seemed like fun. You try to listen and learn what you can, like when to take your time and when to cut and run. And you'd hear that old familiar sound of a chain that won't turn round. I guess my partner's hung up again. To a faller, it's not all just fun and games. When you're breaking in a man that's fairly new, you follow him around and call him names. You got to teach him every single move. You'll hear that old familiar sound of a chain that won't turn round. I guess my partner's hung up again. Watch him close in a breaker one with bind. You tell him a dozen times or maybe more. He'll swear he couldn't hear and he's totally blind, 'cause he'll get hung just like he's done before. And you hear that old familiar sound of a chain that won't turn round. I guess my partner's hung up again. I don't remember it taking quite so long when I broke in several years ago. Now I don't think so, but I could be wrong. Seems it took just a couple days or so, but I hear that old familiar sound of a chain that won't turn round. Guess my partner's hung up again. With all these things are running through my mind, I failed to pay attention to the wind. I grabbed a wedge but didn't have the time. My partner laughed and said, "You're hung again." I heard that old familiar sound of a chain that won't turn round. It looks like that I'm hung up again. It's the sound that it makes that will tell of your mistakes. It looks like that I'm hung up again. Somehow it just don't seem quite right when you feel the cut come tight and your partner sees you're hung up again. Well, the boys on the landing were all up there standing when I whistled for slack on the haywire. If I pulled any harder, I'd pull down the yarder. Please give me some slack on the straw line. I've been setting inch chokers for these lame brain jokers, and I'm just about ready to quit. I've been here 6 weeks working hard for these geeks, and I ain't had even one payday yet. Give me some slack on the haywire, pull me some slack on that line. I'm so tired of digging for holes on this rigging, for pulling and packing like a mule. But I've reached the conclusion that with all this confusion, I must be somebody's fool. I thought the hook was a dunce, and I told him so once, but I found out that weren't a good plan. Seems that hard old hook tender was a title contender, turned out to be a whale of a man. Give me some slack on the haywire, pull me some slack on that line. Well, the rigger's named Jake, and he's meaner than a snake, and he thinks he knows all about rigging, about hooking and climbing, chasing and finding choker holes. He knows nothing about digging. Well, the guy on the loader couldn't be any bolder about throwing stuff over the hill. We all threatened to quit if just one of us gets hit, and I can't believe we're all here still. Give me some slack on the haywire, pull me some slack on that line. I'm tired of these beggars getting stuck with these jaggers. I'm tired of pulling on this straw line. And it's coming the season when I don't need a reason to be headed on up the line. Now I'm not one to cry, and I can't tell you why, but tomorrow will be my last day. If I have any luck, I'll be on that last truck down the road to turn in my pay. Give me some slack on the haywire, pull me some slack on that line. If I have any luck, I'll be on that last truck down the road to turn in my time. Down the road to turn in my time. Sit right down and I'll tell you a story. Tell you a story about a man that I knew. He was well known in this part of the country. He was someone that everyone knew. Every time we played a little music, someone would always mention his name. We always thought he was kind of a legend. Without his songs, it won't be the same. We sang your songs about loggers. I remember Whistle Bum Pete, the boys that kept a crock in the corner, and my old McCullough and me. I'm glad that I got to know you a little, got to sit down and sing your song. Pick up the guitar and do a little playing, and everyone like to sing along. We sang your songs about loggers. I remember Whistle Bum Pete, the boys that kept a crock in the corner, and my old McCullough and me. I remember where there was a logger, and setting chokers in this doggone rain. The one about the used log truck driver. Without these songs it would not be the same. Someday again we will sing songs together, sing about that logging show in the sky. There'll be no strong winds and widow makers. Work all winter and keep warm and dry. I remember where there walks a logger, and setting chokers in this doggone rain. The one about songs, it would not be the same. Sit right down and I'll tell you a story. Tell you a story about a man that I knew. He was well known in this part of the country. He was someone that everyone knew.
Old Snow and I'd been talking about the fun we'd had since we'd up and quit old Gilkison Dad. Now we'd both been around and was pretty well known, so we figured we'd start an outfit of our own. Now starting a new business ain't too easy, you know. I'm trying to think of a name and come up with the dough to pay all the dues, state and federal fees, so we could get started, go out and cut some trees. You gotta have bucks, that's a fact we knew, so we head to the bank, got a grand or two, and we walked out the door with our first bank roll, never stopping to think we just started in the hole. Well, we left that banker with his head in a spin. We'd wooed him and wowed him and talked him right into giving us that grand without batting an eye on a short-term loan with the interest real high. When the fees were all paid and legal work was done, we went to bid on some jobs. Took the first one, was a stand of bastard growth, mostly culls with lots of poison oak and some pecker poles. We worked every day and some weekends for fun. Figured our profit be next to none. With 2 sets of jacks and 4 new saws, we more than used up our first couple draws. But when the money started coming, things looked all right till Snow and the logger, they got in a big fight. He said he owed us more than he was willing to pay, but knowing my partner will be even someday. Didn't make much on the next unit or two, but we was keeping pretty busy, had lots to do. The yarder was on our tail, had money coming in, so we figured it was time to hire some men. Now, unless you've had the pleasure of a payroll or two, making the taxes and the insurance that's due, you've never experienced how a business is run. 1 minute you got money and the next you got none. Now, hiring a good man is a hard thing to do. There's a lot of men around, but the good ones are few, and you gotta have some that will carry their load, or you'll end up sending them down the road. How we wound up with the 2 men we've got, it's a question we've asked more times than not. One thinks he's a preacher, the other's a clown, but the thing they got in common is they're always broke down. We took one job 100 miles away. It took 2.5 hours just to drive one way. Never a quiet ride with those 2 around. They talked all the way from the job to town. Way home one night with the 2-way on, Duke's knee against the mic. Didn't take long to send over the air everything they'd done from their first experience to the very last one. When I told the boys about the thing they'd done, that I got this phone call from someone telling me to be careful what went over the air. We put the blame on the boys, it was only fair. Well, they laughed and joked about the radio, but they were both kinda glad everyone didn't know who it was that'd been talking. And from now on, if you want 'em quiet, just turn the radio on. If you ride with us, you have to sit with Hawk. He don't smell too bad, kinda like an old sock. Never rides in the back like a normal dog. He's just one of the bennies when you work for Westlaw. Now Westlaw hasn't been around a long time. We're not a cheap outfit, still we're not the kind to pay a big bonus and family insurance plan. But come Christmas time, you get a turkey or ham. Now this is a true story, and without a doubt, for censorship reasons, I've left things out. Some say we politicked and collaborated to get where we are at Westlaw Incorporated.
Once in a while you find a young man that can learn to cut trees in time. Most never make it, but they learn how to fake it and all before they reach their prime. They take on a know-it-all attitude, you can't seem to tell them a thing. They need to listen to the voice of experience if they want to learn anything. I suppose this is true in any line of work you may find in the woods around. Falling trees or pulling rigging, or setting jokers on steep ground. If you take on a know-it-all attitude and never stop to figure it out, you'll be lucky in a way if at the end of the day the crew don't have to pack you out. Now when you take on some government jobs and the big shots come around, they try to tell you how to cut your trees and work your lead with the ground. They've got that old know-it-all attitude because they read about this before. They've been to school and studied it all, and they don't need to learn no more. Now when I speak of this phenomenon, you all know what I'm talking about. It's that old know-it-all attitude, and it's a pain without a doubt. A college degree and a wicker bill hat, you can tell with just one look. I guess to be a real true know-it-all, you got to learn it from a book. College degree and a wicker bill hat, I know it all doesn't make. You work 3 or 4 short months in the woods, is all it would probably take. In a camp in southeastern Alaska, Prince of Wales' northeastern side, in the cold and the gray of an October day, I walked in the office and sighed. The weather, she's turned a bit colder. There's snow mixed in with the rain. I've got southern bound fever, 'cause I want to leave here, call Sierra and get me a plane. I'm tired of this bushland in Muscat, fighting the mud and the sleet, of the continual strife of this rugged life in the land of eternal wet feet. My body is aching for sunshine to cure the old aches and the pain. Don't look so forlorn, Frank, just jump on the horn, Frank, call Sierra and get me a plane. I'm tired of this old bunkhouse living. I'm missing the kids and the wife. I've been here 6 long months. Tomorrow been the longest full year of my life. My bags are all packed and they're waiting. I guess there's no need to explain. So don't look so pale, Frank, just tally my scale, Frank, call Sierra and get me a plane. So don't look so pale, Frank, just tally my scale, Frank, call Sierra and get me a plane. As I was explaining the problem, I'm not making quite enough dough. Bullbuck walked in, he was wearing a grin, and said, "You'll miss out if you go, 'cause I found a patch of old ghost snags. I'll give you a free roll of chain. So don't look so pale, Frank, don't tally his scale, Frank, call Sierra and cancel that plane." I said, don't look so pale, Frank, there'll be snags on my scale, Frank, call Sierra and cancel my plane.